wall-to-wall ball, ball above all. When the altar call calls, it's Riffic, Nell, Mark, Chef, unsullied by a single sponsorship. Not yet outside the box. The next Ernie, Shaq, Charles Jet. Every stat cross-check, every last prospect. Tear open a Spalding and reach for next topics. We the underdog, but we bopping like the tropics. Here we settle calls and welcome controversy. It's ball above all.
Ball above all. All right. We want to say thanks. Another episode. Today, we have one of our long hosts with us. He just finally made it. Can we get a round of applause? So yeah, if you want to quickly introduce yourself, this is there any sort of nicknames that you have? Or?
They used to call me Luca back in high school,
Hey.
because my name is Luca. I want to officially apologize to all the other members. I was supposed to be here for the first shoot, and unfortunately my boat from overseas was a bit late.
The boat.
I got stuck in customs.
Right.
But I'm here now, and I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
chat.
He's here to bring a lot of knowledge. We got Riffic again. We got Chris,
Hope everyone's doing well.
and we got Nell.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Chris.
All right, with that being said, you guys know what we do. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into the ball. Once we jump into the ball, we're going to pull out the topics. We're going to spend 10 minutes on that. Hard stop, move on to the next one. And then we're going to switch it up. We're actually going to dive into some kicks today, which is going to be crazy. We want you to hit the subscribe button, as usual. Follow, engage, continue to write your opinions. We saw somebody wrote some opinions on the last one. We like that. Keep that up. Say what you got to say. Talk your shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, with that being said, let's go right into the ball. We're gonna start off with the Luka Doncic.
Nah, we're gonna have to come up with something. We're gonna have to come up with something.
I wonder how ballers feel about this ball being.
It's all right. We have a good one here. We have a good one intact.
Right.
All right, here we go. Delani, this is your handwriting clearly. Who's winning the chip this year?
And we start time. Who wants to start that off?
Man, are we gonna? I mean, it's easy to go with the odds, But if we're gonna really talk ball, there's no clear front runner to me right now. It's tough to say. You know who has the best personnel and all that type of stuff on paper, and we see the regular season. But as of right now, it's like, what's Portland in the West?
Fourth?
They might be
Fifth?
Somewhere in the middle, always, right?
There might be six now. Like there might be six tomorrow. Might be fourth.
And that is my point. Exactly. That very reason. There's so much fluctuation, East and West. I think playoffs is gonna be epic. As much as we're in this pandemic basketball phase, the regular season's been whatever. Lots of injuries, lots of postponed games, which is brand new. Messed up my fantasy. Like I just. I could have forfeited halfway through, but I'm a good sport, But I just feel, come playoff time, it's going to be freaking the wild East and West. I don't know. My answer is I have no idea. I couldn't even give a clear answer.
I'm going to jump out the window and I'm going to just say the Lakers. I know people are going to say whatever.
It's going with the odds.
I'm just going to go with, let's talk about what people are betting on, where they're putting their money on. It's the Lakers show. Like, let's face it, like LeBron and AD. Yeah, LeBron's hurt, whatever you want to call it, but we know ultimately when he comes back, him, AD, and now Drummond on the inside.
You could say that with Brooklyn if they're healthy.
That's
the crazy part. If Brooklyn's healthy, you cannot just clearly say that.
The Brooklyn thing, I'm not a believer yet. Still not a believer. I don't know.
If you know ball, you just know that there's three guys that can put up 50. They just have to play decent defense. It's tough. How can you scheme against that?
I don't know. I'm thinking like
Drummond's not fully reliable.
How healthy is KD really?
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of things like that you have to worry about when you take. Because let's talk about it. Like they say, today's most important intangible is being reliable and being available. So is KD at a place where can he just jump into 7 games right away? I don't know.
Is AD someone you could say, he'll make it right through playoffs? We're not worried about him. No.
Do you think LeBron and Drummond could work though?
Drummond, you can't rely on Drummond. To say LeBron and Drummond, it's tough to even say that. Because what would that be? What would that look like?
Who's the dominant center that LeBron has won with? And what does he have? 4 championships?
Yeah.
Who's the dominant center that he's played with?
Shaq?
Did he win with
You're
Shaq?
saying Shaq, or you're saying Drummond could be like Shaq?
No, but
I'm
who
saying
literally, who was
has helped LeBron
who was the center
in
that
his
he won with?
win championship
Oh,
at his
Who was the
Oh,
center on the Heat?
Sejunis Ilgauskas.
Who was the center on? No, I was gonna say that. Was he the center on Miami?
Big Z. No.
Who was the center on Miami?
Birdman. You had Birdman.
You
The
had
center on,
Birdman.
there was
Birdman
nobody.
just
So
center.
basically
Yeah,
nobody.
Joel Anthony.
Joel
Yeah,
Anthony.
coming over
Wow. Basically
So
Straight
he's
from
never had
Montreal.
a real big man, and the league has obviously shifted.
Yeah.
So I don't see Drummond being that effective for the Lakers, right? Last year they won the championship with AD, and who was the center? JaVale McGee. They had a
Chevelle,
JaVale,
Dwight, yeah.
But who played more minutes versus in between all of them, right?
Dwight.
It's sort of a toss-up.
Dwight.
Who mattered? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the Lakers, health is a big issue. I think the same thing could be said about Brooklyn, KD, but I think the Lakers are going to have a tougher time coming out the West than Brooklyn will have coming out the East. The
Great.
only
That's
team
fair to
that
say.
they can give Brooklyn some challenge is Philly, and let's face it, they got one good defender. When they put him on KD, I'm talking about Simmons, when they put him on KD, who's going to guard Kyrie?
Yeah.
Tobias Harris, like they
No,
have
no.
nobody to stop Kyrie.
No.
And healthy Harden, I see Brooklyn walking, maybe losing 2-3 games in the East and making it to the finals fresh. So to your point, can they sustain health for the rest of the season? I don't think they need to. Look at the best championship team over the last 5 years, Toronto Raptors.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah.
How healthy
For
was
sure.
Kawhi?
That's true.
He was on a minute restriction the whole season. Come to playoffs time, he's performing.
That's true.
So
He was limping in the finals too.
he was limping since that dunk on Giannis. But I got Brooklyn. For me, I got Brooklyn coming
Brooklyn?
through. Yeah. It's going to be weird for a team that's so newly assembled to win a championship. I don't think that's something that's happened much throughout NBA history. But I just think they got too much firepower in a season where teams do not have, with all the COVID protocols, teams don't have the time to get their chemistry right on court. Condensed schedule, I think everything is falling in Brooklyn's lap to win it this year.
But to counter that, I think, do you remember the first big three, the most recent big three, the Miami guys, 2011, they went up against, they were expected to win, of course, but they lost to Dallas in 6 because they couldn't get the chemistry together in that first year. It's still a lot of things that they need to work through, but I agree with, to your point, they'll walk through the East if KD's healthy. If KD is healthy.
I think they walk through
So
the East if
who's
KD's
your
healthy
pick
or not.
My pick, it's one or two people, either the Nets or the Lakers, because the Lakers, if they're healthy again, LeBron will do his thing. AD's finally working his way back in. Drummond, I don't think that matters too much. You've got Schroeder, you've got all the other good role players there. They've got a good culture of winning now as well. So I think out of the West, it'll probably be the Lakers, but they need to be healthy. LeBron needs to be healthy.
That's the other thing, though. Did the Lakers get better from last season when they won?
Yes,
With who?
right now they're better.
they're
Currently?
better.
And it's tough
Losing
to say.
Rondo?
It's tough to say. So you
Exactly.
think Lakers over Clippers for sure?
I think so, yeah.
See,
There's
you
some-
just mentioned a team that none of us have mentioned yet. So go ahead now.
Yeah,
So-
I just think there's
I'm
something
not-
missing with the Clippers. There's just something
Really?
missing.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like with Rondo there now too.
Yeah, I just think there's still something
Maybe
missing.
just the chemistry. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I think Clippers can beat Lakers 4 times.
You think?
Clipper healthy Lakers.
I do too.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be LeBron's fault. And so, for me, with the whole Big Three thing and Brooklyn, those other Big Threes were different than this one because this one has 2 guys that you cannot stop from getting out the lane. Like LeBron and Wade, at the end of the day, they're unstoppable, but there's ways of making them kind of think twice. You know what I'm saying? You sag off, contest late, make them think about shooting, kind of hesitate. It might give you a chance to, like, just make it tough for them.
Neither of them are great shooters.
Yes.
Yeah.
These guys is like,
Kyrie's
you can't really say
unreal.
what you're going to do, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
slow down Kyrie and Harden. So it's crazy. I know I might be pretty bold. I might be pretty bold saying this. Even if Durant isn't healthy, I still think they'll win a championship.
That's when
I'm
you.
not gonna lie.
We clearly put smart guys on the edges.
I'm not gonna lie. Even
They're
if
that good.
Durant comes back and he's playing like 20, 25 minutes, the same sort of thing, either way he's gonna shoot 50%. There's nobody can stop him from shooting 50%. And then you have 2 guys that you cannot keep out the lane, and then they have the best shooter in the league. I don't know what he's drinking. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Oh, Joe Harris.
I don't know what he's
Yeah,
drinking
man,
or what he's eating,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that guy, if he continues to do that, then I'm guaranteeing it. I'm not
See
gonna
what
lie.
Kevin Durant
He's
said.
shooting 60% catch and shoot over.
I know. I think he got confident though. when you play with those guys, you're gonna be
Yeah,
confident.
also keep in mind that these guys,
Byproduct.
you've got three incredible players that are creating so many decoys, right?
Right.
So you've got this person's going to Durant every time, then they're going to Harden, then they're going to Kyrie. There's Joe Harris. Like, who's Joe Harris? Yeah, he's shooting a wide open three.
Yeah.
But to that point, like, you played with me and Delani, and we both drew a lot of players in us. And when we kicked it out to you, you were shooting like 12%.
No, for real. I don't know what type of meal plan you're.
So
It's
what I'll
confidence,
say,
right?
I'm just gonna put it out there, and
Elevate.
I know Delani wants to say something. I'm gonna put it out there that I genuinely think that the Lakers are gonna have a hard time getting past the Clippers.
Yeah,
think so,
yeah.
too.
And even if they do get past them, that's gonna take a lot out of them. And you know they're great enough to get through that. They can. Will they? I'm so uncertain. And I think it comes down to that Clipper-Laker matchup there. That's gonna put whatever wrench needs to be put in the playoffs. It's gonna be that right there. East, like you said, East they're gonna get
Yeah.
through smooth. And then the finals themselves is gonna be a flicking.
It's
Yo,
gonna be
what's
epic.
amazing about the finals are the storylines. Let's look like breaking it down. Durant versus LeBron. Boom, there you got it. You've always wanted it. Then you look at the
Kyrie,
supporting.
James.
Bro, there's just so many storylines that, as bland and vanilla as this season has been, it's gonna be an epic playoff.
I think
It's
that's
gonna
why
be
Silver
epic.
let all this. I literally
Yeah.
think that's why Silver let all this stuff out.
Oh, it's gonna be epic.
You guys really think Pandemic P is gonna show up? Though?
No,
Like,
but it's
really,
not
like,
about him. I
Pandemic
just think
P?
I just
Like,
think the
come on,
Lakers
man.
have the pieces.
You know what I
to-
mean?
Listen,
Playoff
right now the
Lakers.
I hope so.
Lakers, the Clippers, sorry, right now they look like they're getting it together. But imagine if they get it together. They have the pieces to do it, man. They have the pieces to really get it done. And you look at you look at the Morris twin, you look at guys that are like, yo, they will give Lakers a run, man.
You know what? You guys
They got a
know.
better twin too.
You
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
but you guys know when you gotta play LeBron 7 games and the refs. That's very difficult to do.
Has there
LeBron
ever
gets
been
a
Kawhi
lot of
versus
calls.
LeBron in the playoffs ever before?
No.
Okay, that's huge in itself.
Finals.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Spurs, Miami.
Spurs,
And
Miami.
what
Spurs,
happened?
Miami, a young.
And what happened?
That's true. That's true.
So imagine that now. We're gonna get to see them both at decent
Their
health,
prime.
in their prime, head to head in a
What?
finals when it matters. Same conference, not the NBA finals. Same conference. So, yo,
It's a great
I don't know.
storyline.
It's crazy, man. I don't know. I'm getting excited, man. Shit.
It's definitely gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be insane.
None of us
Clippers-
mentioned, by the way, so I'm looking at the standings here. We got the Jazz number 1 in the West, Suns,
Yeah.
then Clippers, then
Well, yeah,
Nuggets,
they-
then Lakers.
Yeah,
Lakers
yeah.
are 5th
Guess,
right now.
guess what? But 1, 2, 3 essentially don't matter. They're just gonna be
Ooh,
like
I
energy
don't know.
busters.
I like Devin Booker a lot. I'm gonna be honest.
But what?
Yeah.
I like
Come on,
Chris Paul a lot.
is
I
Phoenix?
like
How far is
Dame.
Phoenix going in the
I think
into the playoffs? Phoenix, come on.
would
I know
take
you
the
like
over.
him.
I'm gonna take the over on
You
Phoenix
take
for a
them
lot
over
of series. Yeah.
You think they'll get past?
No.
Are they going to the
Phoenix-
Western Finals? Phoenix?
No.
That's
I would
tough-
still take the over though
tough
because
sell.
I like Chris Paul and I like Devin Booker. There
I
are
like
two
him.
guys.
I
there are
like
two-
him.
There's
They're
a
playing
certain.
well
I
together.
don't
there's a-
trust DA at
There's
all.
a certain level of heart. I was just talking about it. There's a certain level of heart and competitiveness that you can't account for with certain players when you get into playoff situations. And I feel like Chris Paul and Devin Booker are winning games right now because of that. If you watch them play right now, we're coming down to the end of the game, like these guys just change into different people.
But DA then becomes so vital, and I don't think he can do it. I don't trust him. He's fumbly.
So
He's not reliable around the rim.
so to sum it up, Brooklyn, Lakers. You
No
don't know.
idea.
You don't know.
I think Brooklyn are gonna do it.
I said Brooklyn
Yeah.
too.
I'm
There's
so
too many
sorry to
options.
be on the fence. I'm so
Too-
sorry, guys, but I think that's the storyline that goes right now too. It works. Like, it's just such a toss-up, man.
All right.
We're forgetting we didn't even mention Portland. You mentioned Phoenix before Portland. That's crazy.
That's
man.
crazy, man. Dame's
Yeah,
my
that's-
guy.
So with that, we got to go to the next question.
You know what it is? I don't like the 40% leading scorers. Like Dame and CJ are gonna score 30, but
Nurkic
it
is
always
back.
takes a lot of shots to do it.
Hello.
Bothers me.
Playoff P is there now.
Okay. Speaking of that, the next question is, why does Paul George get disrespected? you just said his name. Which
No,
is
no, I
crazy.
meant the other guy.
Oh,
I meant the ex-Raptor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, who wants to start with that? Why does he get disrespected, Paul George? I'll start it off, actually, because I just said it. I said, listen, man, we know this guy is going to give you these numbers. Like, we know this is what he's been doing his whole career. I think he's at a stretch now where he scored like over 30 for like the past 5-6 games, and they've won without Kawhi.
Yeah.
It looks great, but we know come playoff time, you shoot. Now you're going from like a 45%, 50% shooting range to now the defense is now completely locked in on this guy. He doesn't get as many calls because he doesn't drive. He's turned him more into a jump shooter. I think what happens is he does gets disrespected because of his postseason. He just never really steps it up. That's why, to your point, I know you're saying the Clippers and the matchup with Kawhi. I just don't think he's going to be able to support Kawhi when it matters. I don't know. You don't?
Bouncing off what you just said, I think if we look back through history on Paul George, when he was in Indiana, he was supposed to be the next big thing, right? The battles that he had with LeBron, I think expectations were very high on him. Then the injury happened, and then the process just hasn't been there, right? His game hasn't bounced back to the level it was prior to that. And he was also the main guy on the Indiana team. So I think two things. I think the injury is one. Second, similarly to Kyle Lowry, who was known as a flopper in playoffs time until he wasn't. So I think this year, with a healthy Kawhi and Clippers with Rondo, I think we see a bounce back of Paul George. And I'm so hoping, because I snagged up a rare top shot of Paul George, and I want that value to go through the roof.
Top Shot. But I think we're gonna get a few more plugs of Top Shot today.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
What I'll say is, I'll take it a different direction where, I really do feel that off the court, he's not respected. And I think that we talk basketball all the time, and basketball is what the show is about. But when you break them down to people and guys and men, right, there's a level of respect there. Like, I feel like Chris Paul, for an example, I feel like he's disrespectful to so many guys. He'll show the world that he doesn't respect somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's beyond the basketball court as well. Like, and I think that with Paul George, off the court, he's just had so many L's, if we're going to speak on just like what you would do as a man and what, decisions you would make and, outcomes that he's had to deal with. And nobody really respects him off the court. Yeah. I genuinely think that. I've seen players call him a bitch. When
That's
you watch ball for so long, reading the lips is part of watching the game now, and listening for certain things. You'll be listening, woo, bitch. Like, you'll hear after the whistle, you'll hear certain things, right? So,
was that Booker? Who was that?
Both of them, Chris Paul.
A lot of people. I'm going to go ahead and say a lot of people. Now, what I'll say is they're between the lines, but when they're calling him a bitch, it's not necessarily because of ball.
Right.
Now, extend that to basketball. You're looking at a guy you don't respect, like, it's going to translate on the ball court. And his game doesn't help it. It's smooth, it's silky, but it's not like, you don't fear it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fear it.
That's true.
And I think that's just an extension of who he is as a guy. Everyone's different.
But he does get disrespected a lot.
He's just not, he hasn't shown to make good decisions on the court, off the court. And on the court, he just hasn't compensated for that with reliable and, notable plays in the playoffs and stuff. Like, if he was a winner, it would make up for all the bullshit off the court.
Right.
Just you hit it very well. I think to piggyback on that, legends or, people's stature are going to be made in the playoffs. And so far, the only thing he's made in the playoffs is a nickname. Let's be very clear.
He called himself that.
And let's
self-proclaimed.
That was my second point, was that he called himself that. He's not Kobe, and Kobe didn't even call himself playoff Kobe. Like, it's just that's where it lies for me. Just really, you got to win something first. You really got to win something. Regular season, when he was at OKC, I think he was second or third in that MVP kind of ranking. He's silky smooth. We've all mentioned it. He's averaging 22, 7, 6, those kind of numbers, and 3, and top steals. He's an elite player, but he just can't translate that into winning. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, everyone is typically measured on winning.
He can't translate it to respect.
And
I don't mean to correct you, but it's just, he can win, but I don't think it's hard to get respect. LeBron doesn't even have everyone's, LeBron might have everyone's respect. But people diss LeBron like they don't rate him, even though I think that might be just hate.
LeBron still gets disrespected a lot.
He does, but I think no matter what, you have to respect that.
Disrespected superstars we've ever seen.
Yeah.
By players or by media?
Everyone.
But he's the most different and unorthodox superstar we've ever seen too.
Right.
Yeah.
But no.
So, it's a lot of game plan too. Like, when I was playing, if there's a guy on another team and my coach is looking at his stats or whatever, and he gets a tech every game, my coach would definitely be like, hey, just talk some shit to him, he's going to get a tech. Literally. So I think now what's starting to become with him is everything that we say to him, he's going to react and he's going to be thrown off. So I think that it's a little bit of a game plan too. It's like, call him a pussy, call him a bitch, and he'll stop playing, he'll stop scoring type thing. So I think that has a little bit to do with it for sure. And I mean, he's not the only guy that they do that to. They do that to Cousins, like, Everyone acts a little extra with him. You know what type of reaction you're gonna get.
Yeah.
They do that to Russ. You know what type of reaction you're gonna get. So I think there's a lot to do with it. The reason why I said this year in the playoffs that I believe in him a little bit more is because he has a coach that's not just gonna let him do whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, Doc Rivers is an amazing coach, but I feel like even what Doc Rivers was saying about Ben Simmons, he's like, oh, Ben can take any shot he wants because he's already a proven player. But even proven players need some sort of structure. And you can kind of see with this Clippers team and Ty Lue coaching, yes, Kawhi and PG are still taking the most shots, but it's within a structure, it's within a system. So I think because of the coaching, that's why I believe he'll do a little better in this.
I think you made a good point in regards to off the court. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
He does get disrespected off the court.
So I'm gonna give that. We have a few minutes. I'll get my Skip Bayless on and give it some context. Remember now, he was wifing up or dating a stripper, got her pregnant.
Yeah.
Tried to settle off court. No, tried to offer her $1 million to keep it quiet. She took him to court. Boom, boom, boom. Had the baby. So now he has a stripper baby. Okay.
Stripper baby.
Right. Then after that, he wifed up Doc Rivers' daughter.
That's
They were
right.
engaged, I believe. They were
That's-
supposed to
Did
get
her
married.
dirty.
He did her dirty, and I
Yeah.
think he did her dirty with the stripper,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, bro, now this is league
He's married with a
intel.
stripper.
He's you
But
cannot.
she's Serbian though.
Well, then I will not go further to disrespect her. Then
That's a plug.
I will go no further in my
Shout out to
disrespect.
Serbia.
But what
Shout
I
out
will
to Serbia.
say is, from the second you did that, now you're dealing with Doc's daughter. That
Yeah.
means all these Austin's sister, all these things, right? Now it's league intel. Now the league is privy. Now you did that.
You disrespect
Now we don't
the
rate
people.
you, and that's your own fault.
And he was talking crazy about Doc Rivers when he left too. That was
Yeah.
another thing that players don't respect him for.
Like, bro,
You
you're
know?
just torching yourself. So now it's like you better win or else. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
that he's not winning,
If he doesn't win this year, I guarantee Clippers make a change. They have to. They're gonna get rid of him.
Well, Kawhi might not re-sign too.
Well,
so
it's gonna change so much if they don't win.
that's part of the reason.
Kawhi, listen, any team where Paul George will be left as the number one option will not succeed.
Yeah.
Fair.
He has been playing with Kawhi for a year, and the saying iron sharpens iron. I do think that plays dividend too, aside to the coaching as well. I think the change in coaching was absolutely necessary for them. But I think playing with somebody who's as determined and as of a hard worker as Kawhi is, I think that rubs off on Paul George. Because prior to that, in Indiana, he was the man. In OKC, he had Westbrook. Westbrook's obviously a hard worker, but I don't think he's in that top 5 player in the league category where I do think Kawhi is. And I think Kawhi is just a gym rat at the end of the day. So I think all those factors also give the Clippers a really good chance to oust the Lakers this year.
You know what? I'll agree with that because when Kawhi came to Raptors, there was guys on the Raptors acting totally different, and he wasn't saying a word. It was like unspoken leadership. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I've never defended Russ, but I feel like playing with Russ, how do you not get some of that dog? Like, how do you not see firsthand what it is to be a killer, and not even just want to taste that or want to, try it,
I think confidence is quiet, though. I do think confidence is quiet. And I think when you have somebody like Westbrook who, for the majority of his career, he has to embellish everything. He has to give it more everything. You don't see MJ doing that, right? What's the MJ thing? Wave of a tumbo?
Tongue.
He knows. The game speaks for itself. So I think with Kawhi, it's a different level than it is with Westbrook. I think Westbrook's still an elite talent and arguably maybe the most athletic guy in the NBA over the last decade. But I think as a basketball player, Kawhi and Westbrook are on two different fields, and I think that rubs off on Paul George at the end of the day.
It's all about if he receives it, how he receives it. It could be nothing, and he could just take nothing from it and still be the same old guy he is. It's on him really more than anything.
So ultimately, we disrespect Paul George. We don't like him.
That also, we're talking too long now, but that goes back into what I was saying about a 40% score. 40% score, you have to shoot 20. You know what I'm saying? To hit whatever.
Yeah, but that's crazy. But we'll go to the next
8
one.
shots, 9 shots. You have to shoot
Sound
25
riff,
to
sound
hit
riff.
9 shots.
Come on, give me something like
But he's shooting 50% this year. So
lame
he's
overlays,
playing
no
well this year.
LeBron stuff, no PG stuff. I don't want lame stuff. This is interesting because he's on my fantasy. One of them is Kemba overrated.
Ooh, I like that.
Campbell.
I was just arguing with my boy about this yesterday. I was like, listen, my boy says Kemba's completely overrated. I don't think Kemba's overrated. I think Kemba again, when franchises build, they try to put some of these players in positions they shouldn't be. Like, I don't think Kemba should be your number one focus or focal point of the offense. I don't think Kemba's a great shooter. He's great at getting into the lane. He's great at attacking the rim. Kemba's always been a winner college-wise.
Yeah.
But when you want him to be your facilitator, distribute, get people involved, that's not Kemba's game. His game is to score. So it's like, if he's on a team, the team that he's on, everyone said the Celtics were so bad because of him. I don't think it's his fault alone, but I think ultimately he's in a role where they're looking to him to facilitate, and he can't do that. That's just not what he's going to do.
Even now with Tatum and Jalen being the 1A, 1B there, you think
They
he's
still need him
I think
during
he's a
playoff.
third option.
Yeah, but in playoff time, if you look at what they were doing, they literally try to hone in, and you would want Kemba to have the ball a little bit more, especially when you look at the schemes they were doing. They were zoning them. You know, my team, Miami, they were zoning them. So it's like the defenses are looking at Kemba, and his size too. He's undersized. He's like 6 foot. They say. I don't even think he's that. But it's like, I just think he's in a tough position. I don't think he's overrated personally.
I guess I'll go next. I'll say that when I see Kemba, and you know me, I'm full of imagination. I see Ben Gordon 2.0.
Yeah, that's
right?
good. That's a good comparison. That's true.
That's what I see, Ben Gordon 2.0. So when I look at Ben Gordon now, you know, Ben Gordon had his like a short climax, and then just faded to black. You know what I mean? And I think that's essentially going to be the story of Kemba, unless he somehow gets a championship, which ain't going to happen in the next couple of years on Boston. How it is, they got work to do. But essentially, is Kemba overrated? No. But has he underachieved? Yeah, completely to me. He's underachieved. But he's not overrated. He's super effective. I think he's a good shooter.
Yeah.
But when I say underachieved, I mean like he's had a chance to be a leader, didn't really show success in that regard. You know, as a role player, he's okay, but now he's injured all the time. So whether it be because of injury or factors outside of his control, listen, to underachieve as an athlete, it's not always something you can control. Sometimes it's a matter of circumstance.
Yeah.
It could be so many things. But the fact that pressure of achievement and success is on being an athlete,
That's why I said the
it's
franchise.
the gauge. That's how you gauge
That's
it.
why I said the franchise does that too. When they draft you, it's potential, right? So they're going Kemba's to be this, and sometimes it's not fair. Like you said, they've drafted him to be that. You know what I mean?
He's a
That's
whole
a
other
different
story.
conversation.
You want to talk those type of stories, Bennett? That's like these are matters of circumstance, and sometimes they're not able to respond to that. They're able to play ball, which is all they ever wanted to do, but now they have so much more to respond to. Yeah, it's tough. Their storylines get mucky, and then it's like the words like underachieved come out, overrated, these words come out, and it's like they gotta claw through that and still play basketball. It's tough. So to his point, it's really tough, and I think it puts him in a position where now even to play basketball is hard and battle injuries.
And your stock goes down, and you have a hard time getting more work, and then your money goes down. It's just a trickle effect of these words, like you said.
Now now you have to be mentally tough, prepared for the after basketball. People like Ben Gordon, they get cut short, and now it's like, what's next? And you never hear from them again because they're it's tough to get through that.
It's a tough one. I don't think he's overrated. You look at his career that he had in Charlotte. I think he finished he holds a couple of records there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was there, came out of UConn, had a great career there, had that winning shot on top of the elbow. I remember that's one of the first things I think of.
That made him.
When I think of him, that step back, and he had a great career that didn't reach great heights there. I think they made the playoffs a couple of times as well, but ultimately you would consider that period as unsuccessful. I would say overall, 7-8 year career that he had there at Charlotte, and he's gone to Boston, and he's out of the younger crew that's there now, he hasn't really lived up at all because he's been injured, but he was brought in to be a key part of that. So it's really tough because he's just system, or really to piggyback on your point, I think it's environment, different. Coaching can take you one way, different systems can take you one way. But overall, he's been a solid NBA player. When I think of Kemba, I also think of Jameer Nelson from Orlando Magic.
That's a good point, too.
Someone who was a great role player for that. You think of that Orlando Magic team back in the day with Dwight and those type of role player guys as well. He was a key part of that team. So I think he's not overrated. He just hasn't been as successful as one would have hoped.
I think again, not to before Nal goes or Luka goes, like I feel like Kemba with Jameer is a better shooter. Jameer could be a spot up shooter. Like Kemba to me is not a spot up.
You don't think Kemba can
shooter?
No,
not a shooter. Like get me what I'm saying. He's not
scorer.
he's not a
He's a
shooter.
scorer.
He's not a shooter.
Yeah,
He's a
difference.
scorer. So like to have him as a spot up, sit there, you swing
Yeah.
the ball. I don't think that's the position for him on the team that he's on.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so
So I absolutely don't think Kemba's overrated. This is a guy that has overachieved. To be completely honest, there's not very many point guards at that height. At UConn, it was only him and Shabazz leading their team to national championships. That is like is some legendary stuff. And every situation that he's been in, he's been forced to score 20 in order for his team to compete. I mean, outside of this situation, so I think it's a learning curve for him. I think that he has to learn to distribute more. He has to learn to shoot less shots and try to be more efficient with less attempts. And that's tough to tell a guy that's had unlimited attempts his whole career. You know, so I definitely don't believe that he's overrated. He's also battling injuries right now. He played through the bubble with a knee injury like the entire time. So I mean, he's not as explosive as he was, and that's a lot of his game. You know, crossing up guys and being explosive. So losing that, he's probably trying to learn that too, and he's trying to learn to be an actual point guard now. But in the back of his head, he's like, I definitely want to score 20. So it's tough, man. It's tough. I think that they're not going to wait too long though. I don't think they're going to wait very long.
they already had him on the trading block.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to wait very long to see if he can be more of a pure point guard. But I think it's possible. I think he's so talented, I don't see why not. But he's not that old either. I think if he was 34, 35, he would be like, okay, forget it. I'm only going to pass now. But he still has so many years in him. He's probably like, I could pass and still go for 20, you know.
So just to be clear, I want to make sure I understand. We think that the challenge with Kemba is that the league has asked him, or whatever teams or circumstances he's been in, have wanted him to kind of change his game, and he's been unable to do that.
I think only Boston has.
Boston,
I think Charlotte, that was him.
Yeah, because to be asked to score 20 points, I think that's Kemba's game. I don't think that's a big deal for him.
No.
You know, so to say he had to score 20, okay, but that's just what he's going to do regardless. So now if it's okay, now we want you to do more, but now you can't, I get that. I get that.
What do you think, Luke?
The question is
he overrated?
Is he overrated, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to say I don't think he is. And by the way, it's great to go last because I get to hear all you guys and then just combine your thoughts into one. I don't think he is overrated. No. I think in the Charlotte situation, he was drafted by Michael. There was high expectations on him. Michael as a GM is not the best GM in the league. I think there he didn't overachieve, he didn't underachieve because he went to the playoffs and they lost to LeBron. So did 99% of the league, right? So you can't fault him with that. I think now in a situation in Boston, I look at his game. You guys used some comparisons. I think you said Ben Gordon and Marchi, you said Jameer Nelson. Jameer Nelson went to the finals and he at a time it was him and Deron Williams as the best point guards in the league. I don't think there's ever been a conversation where Kemba's the best point guard in the league in a league that's so point guard heavy. So I wouldn't put him in that category. I think he's shorter than Ben Gordon. I think he relies on his athleticism too much, which is great when you're 20 to 27, 28. But after 6-7 years in the league, that's not going to hold up, and we're seeing that now. So I think Kemba has a rough patch ahead. Unless he can switch his game, I haven't seen that ability from him to be a passer, to be a visionary, to have that kind of court awareness, because I think naturally he's a scorer.
Yeah.
I agree. He's not a shooter, he's a scorer. So I think it's going to be a rough patch for him. I can see him being on the bench, second, third point guard on a team in 2 years from now and out of the league within 3-4 years.
It's crazy to say that because some games they played Peyton Pritchard I'm like, Peyton Pritchard played 30 minutes.
He's nice.
But the reason is Peyton kind of fits into what they're trying to do a little bit more. He might not necessarily, if they play one-on-one, we know who's going to win. Yeah. But for a system, So.
Yeah,
I think if you look around the league, who needs Kemba's skill set?
Yeah, he's becoming obsolete.
Not many teams, right? You're undersized, you're not as athletic, and you're injury prone. You're not a great shooter. Everybody that size and below at that position can shoot lights out at 3.
They have to.
Yeah. So I don't think he's overrated, but I don't see a bright future for him, unfortunately.
Well, that being said, let's go to the next one.
Yo, what do you like being called on camera, buddy? Call me just talking, saying your name. What do you like being called on camera?
Oh, doesn't matter. D.
Oh, picked out a good one.
What's that? What you get?
Pass this off. Should we listen to Draymond Green about players?
Oh,
What
do
did
you
he
want to
say?
say?
What does that mean?
Say
In what
exactly?
regard?
What did he say again?
Should we listen to Draymond Green?
when Draymond made that comparison about players, remember when he talked about he said
Said
when a player gets traded, that
that's
it's
all
okay.
good.
When the GM does it, it's not okay. Like that whole conversation. Should we be listening to Draymond at all for anything?
You know.
And then Draymond also said just to talk in general. Draymond also said he's the greatest defender of all time.
Yeah,
That's-
this
This is what I was
So
trying to
you're
get
just
at.
talking
I
in
was trying to
general.
say-
In general,
I was trying to say
in
which point were you
Yeah,
Yeah,
at.
well, I want
So
to
you
know
listen
some
to-
context.
Yeah.
I think, we know where Draymond comes from. He comes from a place that very few guys come from in terms of his mentality and his dog. We talk about the dog in every player. He has like a freaking Rottweiler mixed with like a King Corso, whatever you want to call it. Like he has the dog. And I think the problem is, even when he talks, and he's created this image for himself and this perception for himself, we hear rah, rah, rah. Even when he says right things. The whole I'm the best defender all time. Flick, man. Can you blame any guy for saying that and
Yeah.
feeling that about himself? If he's gotten a defensive player of the year, I think he's gotten 2, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, maybe. A guy will say that. Okay, fine. That one. The other one, I think we heard rah, 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 but he was saying the right things. I think he was saying the right things. There's no reason to disagree with what he was saying unless you don't want to hear it in rah, rah, rah form.
So hold on, what was it exactly that he was saying about players?
He was
So,
talking.
Andre Drummond, they were playing against, at the time he was on the Cavs, they were playing against the Cavs. Andre Drummond warmed up and they told him he has to stay in his street clothes
Right.
until they find a team to trade for him. So they didn't, basically, he was a trade asset, they didn't want him to get hurt playing because then he would have lost his value. So,
And Draymond commented on that saying,
yes, basically that.
He said when a player does it.
When James Harden was saying that he wanted to get traded, we
okay.
were getting on him and saying, "You're not. Why are you doing that?" And then they made him play anyways, and then he didn't play for real. And then now Andre Drummond wants to play, and they're telling him he can't play.
Right.
So-
It's a full contradiction, man.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. Go
I
ahead.
think the only thing I'll say is I think we should listen to the players when it comes to talking about the players. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's Draymond or if it's somebody else. I think they have an insight that nobody else has, and I think that if that's their concerns, if that's the issues that they see with the league and the perception of the media of how the players are being treated, then I think we have to listen to them. Short and sweet for me.
Yeah, I just think the players understand that they know it's a business. That's it. I think more and more you hear players say that more and more consistently, that they know that they can be traded at any time. They're an asset, essentially. And I think with Draymond, he's an alpha guy, right? He believes in himself. He's got amazing credentials, as we said. He thinks he's the greatest defender of all time. What did he have? He had 16 assists the other night or something crazy?
Yeah,
Like,
he's
he-
gonna average more assists this year than points.
Yeah, so he can control a game, and he doesn't need to score. Like, there's very few players that have that ability, right? That actually can control a game and is not a scorer, just facilitating and containing on the defensive end as well. So there's a lot of merit in what he says. So let him speak.
Yeah. So I 100% agree with what he said, as far as the mental aspect goes, because he's right. Like Kyrie said, he left for mental issues, and people were judging him on that. Like,
Yeah.
how you gonna leave your team high and dry? And then there's stuff going on like a team's just gonna trade you. They
Yeah.
don't give you a choice, whether you can play or not. Now you have to sit out, although you want to play. And then now when you go to your next team, which is exactly what happened. Draymond said that. He said now he's going to go to another team. He sat out for a month. How is he going to play right away? Drummond, literally that's what happened. Like now he has to try to, work his way back up. He's like, how do you think that's going to make anybody feel mentally? Which is a fact, which is an absolute fact. Or now you're with an organization that you thought wanted you, but they put you on the trading block and you're like, okay, so now these guys don't want me and they're trading me for a team that I don't know wants me either. So there's a lot of things that he said that I definitely agree with. But, like Rifik said, sometimes it's the way that you say it, of
Yeah.
course,
It's the
But
delivery.
everything that he said was a fact.
So I'm gonna take a
It was
devil's
true.
advocate on this. Because Charles Barkley talked about this. He said these younger generation players are spoiled. They're getting paid way more money than everybody else. So unfortunately, people that work 9-to-5 jobs, they get fired every day. You get traded, you get sent somewhere else. You get a different role, you get demoted. You just gotta take it. Yeah. Okay, you guys are not getting paid minimum wage. You guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars. So somebody tells you to go sit home, take a vacation, my guy. You're still getting paid every 2 weeks, $2 million, $4 million, whatever it is, to sit at home for 3 months, and then you get traded somewhere else to a situation you may not want to be in, but then you get to choose to where you want to go after that. I think maybe Draymond at some points might, because what I was listening to this guy actually talk about it. I forget the name of the show, but what he said is, okay, if you're that upset, Draymond, why don't you guys stop playing? Why don't you stop playing basketball? Because you know it's a business, as Chris said. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? These guys got to learn. He said to suck it up. Charles Barkley keeps talking about it. You know, I just think sometimes Draymond says things because he's emotional. You could see it. He's an emotional person.
Yeah.
You know, but he also has to be very careful because you're still being employed by these people. These people are giving you work. So the whole debate between ownership and players is always going to be a tough one. You know, because I think the owners are always going to look out for their organization and their business, and now the players are like, I'm going to look out for myself, which is going to be. I don't know where the medium is with that.
So
Where do you find the healthy
But
ground?
this is what he's getting at, though. There's never an article or a news headline or a video about how an owner is treating a player bad. Never.
There is.
James
Dolan. People hate James Dolan.
James Harden
Sterling.
James
Dolan, the owner of
the Knicks.
the Knicks owner.
But yeah, he's talking about Clippers too.
Yeah.
Sterling too. That's
But
true.
yeah, but what Draymond is saying though is no one says that, you know, it's crazy that they're sitting. How is Cleveland treating him like that? They never say that. They're just like, oh, it's a business. But then when James Harden doesn't play because he's asking to be traded, now we're like, James Harden is a sellout. So,
But I think why they say that is just because with the player, because these guys are doing it and you can't control it. These guys are choosing just not to play.
You know,
So they'll go out and just not look like Blake Griffin. Prime example. Blake Griffin did not dunk for like what 6-7 months. As soon as he goes to the next team, he dunks the ball. This is crazy.
Okay.
I'm still paying you $2 million every 2 weeks.
Okay, to
You know what I'm
answer your
saying?
question, what's the medium? Here's the buffer.
Yeah.
The buffer is you need to make yourself valuable. You need to be an asset.
Right.
We look at the Harden versus Drummond comparison. Harden is the guy, period.
Yeah.
Drummond has shown to be pretty dispensable, disposable.
Good
You know,
point.
you could get around not having a Drummond. If you have a chance to have a Harden,
Go for
you're going for that.
Yeah.
Drummond can be in purgatory for a while and the NBA won't be affected.
Right.
Harden in purgatory hurts the NBA.
Yeah.
So I feel like the star power, to speak on your comment, the buffer there, the middle ground is make yourself valuable.
Yeah.
Now, this is why role players don't have a voice enough to say, yo, I don't want to play or whatever.
That's true.
They go with the flow.
That's
They're
true.
role
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
That's their
yeah,
value.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it will never compete with a Harden type
Very
of
true.
value. So that's
Very
just,
true.
like you said, it's business and there's levels. So we look at, if there's levels, you look at Harden versus Drummond now. We know Drummond is maybe 2 or 3 tiers below Harden. So now they get treated differently, and it's like, there's politics and all that. But I do feel Draymond Green, you know, it's not his, to say stop playing. Going a bit too far. It's not his battle. It's not his fight. But he was asked a question. He answered it as a player,
Yeah.
to your point.
Yeah.
Or to your point, sorry, where that perspective is more important than anything, really. The player perspective. And he came from that angle in his own way. You know.
I'm just
I
saying.
think you're right on the
Sorry, go
spot.
ahead.
I think you're right on the spot. It comes down to revenue, right? How much
That's
are
it.
you putting people in their seats? Are people going in to watch you? If so, then you have a lot more power.
That's it.
You have a
LeBron.
bigger platform. Yeah.
I think
that's what it comes
yeah,
down
no,
to.
that is a great point because you're trying to tell me like a guy like Michael Beasley, OJ Mayo,
Right?
Ben Gordon,
Right?
these guys wouldn't kill to be in that position and be moved
And
around
they're
right
good
now.
players.
Right.
But
OJ Mayo's still in the league?
no,
No, he's
he's
overseas.
been banned.
He
He's been
was.
banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Banned.
Yeah.
And he was like, they were talking Jordan talks
Yeah,
with
he
him,
was
and it was
the
just
next.
like, what?
He was
They
next
called him
up.
man boy or whatever they call him.
Mhm.
Like, what?
And he still scored crazy numbers overseas.
In China.
Yeah.
But he's always
In the
been, he's
finals.
like a Paul George before,
He was in
he's
the finals.
silky smooth, you know, he just never
Yeah.
had like something.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, that was good on Mr. Draymond. You know, we'll go to the last question.
Let's go.
Why isn't Jordan respected enough?
Michael?
Michael Jordan? As a GM?
As
Michael
a GM,
B.
okay.
Jordan or Michael Jordan? Jordan?
Yeah, right?
As a GM or as a player?
Both. Because nowadays, obviously, people are disrespecting him compared to LeBron.
What? Who's disrespecting Jordan?
The
You
media-
mean the
the
GOAT
media-
status is in jeopardy?
The media.
If
Yeah,
that's
people,
what you mean.
people
They
are,
do this every 5 years.
The GOAT
yeah,
status is
well,
just
because
legitimately in
they're
jeopardy.
washing it out. But we started off. But what do you think?
You know, it kind of goes to based on what we were saying before. You know, as each generation is born and comes into the league and stuff, some of these stories that were more relevant to us are kind of like legends to these younger guys. So it's hard to tell. So I personally feel it's just lack of knowledge. It's hard to tell someone that's younger than me that Michael Jordan, someone that they've never seen play, is better than someone that they're seeing play every single day. So I think it depends on how educated you are in the game, and if you take the time to do your history, and look back on that type of stuff. That's what I personally feel. But if I'm talking to someone my age, and they say they know basketball, and they say anything opposite than Michael Jordan being the best player ever, now I got to question how much about basketball that you know. So I guess it depends on. I guess it depends on who you're talking to and.
RJ Barrett.
Let me guess.
Not to cut you. RJ Barrett said. RJ Barrett said when he watched the Jordan documentary. Again, to your point, he's like he never knew how good Jordan was.
Yeah,
RJ
right.
Barrett's like 18.
Yeah, but he's born like.
Yeah, so he was like when he watched that.
2000.
When he watched that, he's like it solidified that Jordan is the greatest.
Because
Listen,
everything needs context.
I was on a flight with RJ Barrett. He took his shoes off on a plane. Nothing more.
So now you don't rate him. No, but no.
I was on that same flight back from Vegas.
Oh, that's a real thing?
Yeah, I was chatting
No, I'm
with
not
him.
kidding. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, D, everything needs context. You could watch a highlight of Jordan and be like, yeah, that was sick. But then when you hear it was a Game 6 finals to a crunch time play, now all of a sudden that highlight is like, now if you don't rate that highlight, you're just hating. So everything needs a bit of context, and it like Nell said, it's a generational thing.
It's generational.
Where you could show a young guy the video, but like I said, he didn't feel. I remember the '90s. I remember, was it '96 against the Sonics or '95? Yeah. Okay, '96. I remember I watched that finals with my mom and my two sisters. Like that's just a memory I have because it's what it was. I was with my mom and my two sisters. I wasn't with my boys, nothing like that. But I was watching Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. There's no highlight without that. A highlight can't trump that. That context, that feeling that I had in that moment makes him the GOAT. Yeah. Watching a highlight won't make him the GOAT.
Yeah, that's what these kids feel about LeBron.
Yeah,
but here's the question. The reason why I think the Jordans went out the window, and not to get psychological with it, but I think what it is when we're diving into it, people are looking at the statistics and they're looking at this is not a guy. This is not a dude.
Us at our age, we don't even mention.
No, but hold on. This is not a dude. This is not a dude like we're just jumping out the window talking about. We're not talking about like I don't know, some random older player that I'm just telling you as an older guy. Like this guy was great. Like this guy was flawless in what he did and the numbers. But I do think, to your points, if this other guy, I'm not even going to say his name, if this other guy eclipses Jordan in all statistical categories, it will be hard. It'll be hard to talk about.
The GOAT status is in jeopardy. GOAT status is in jeopardy. And I think that's where we're going to call it disrespect. It looks like disrespect, but it's more like the questionability of it now, which was never there before, is being translated as disrespect. Like to say like, yo, is Jordan the GOAT? Now all of a sudden you're dissing. But no, it's in jeopardy. I need to ask that question now because we all know LeBron's a different type of champion. And I said his name, my bad. And he has different qualities and characteristics, traditionalist basketball minds don't necessarily understand. But with his accolades, plus the eye test, he can hoop. There's nothing you can take away from his game per se. Now, he's trumping all the stats. What can you take away even if you're a hater? So it's hard.
He's not trumping any stats though.
No, he's chasing Chamberlain for most. First of all, he could potentially get most assists all time. Or no, am I tripping?
No, he'll be.
What is he can get most all
top
time?
10 in 3 categories.
Exactly, that's what
fine.
it is. But he'll be one in scoring.
Yeah.
He'll be one in scoring. He'll probably be top 5 in assists because he'll get more. If anything, when his athleticism goes down, he'll average 10 assists. Like
if I work at a job for 20 years, am I going to make more money than somebody who's done the same job and worked 12 years? I got 8 more years to make more money, so I'm going to make more money. Chances are, if we're doing the same job. Jordan was in the league for how many years?
13 altogether.
13 altogether. This is LeBron's
20. 18, sorry.
18 seasons,
18.
right? So that's already how many seasons more? I'm not good at math.
It's true, it's 5. And it's like, I always say that. You want to look at numbers, which you kind of got me caught in a moment, if we're going to talk numbers, because that's LeBron's saving grace. Numbers will be his saving grace.
I remember
But that
coming
is,
off a plane, check my stats.
yeah. But
That's
guess
what I was
what? That's 5 extra
Thumbs
years.
down.
I would love for someone to do the math of take away the extra years LeBron has and then compare the numbers type of thing. You know?
Points per game, Jordan.
Jordan,
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Never
But-
got a game 7 in the finals, Jordan.
Sure, they never lost in the
I think when it
finals,
comes to
Jordan.
debate between Jordan the player and Jordan the manager, I think he gets slack for the managerial role because
Yeah.
there haven't been any successes.
Yeah.
As a
He's lost
player,
respect there.
as a player, to your point, I've always debated this. In my eye, Kobe.
Say it
Give
with
the-
your
put
chest.
a-
Say it with your chest.
Give the
Kobe.
ball. Let's say there was a hoop here, and we clear everything out, and you got Jordan in his prime, LeBron and Kobe in here in his prime. LeBron's walking out with his head like
Yeah, like, I can't do it, guys. I don't know. I don't know.
Kobe and Jordan are in here
Going hard
Yeah.
all night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think as a team basketball player, I would put LeBron right up there with Jordan and Kobe. With a basketball player, give me the ball and let's see who's better. Like look at LeBron shooting for him. Look at his handle.
I agree.
Oh, you're really dissecting it.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
really
yeah.
breaking
Oh,
it
yeah,
down.
but we all have. The world knows.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
world
Look at his
knows.
footwork. Look at his
Yeah,
footwork.
yeah.
Like there's just not there. He travels on every second play.
Oh gosh.
Right, and then Kobe and Jordan, I think they're right there. Obviously, I think this is true for anything. When you come after somebody,
It's easier.
you're gonna be better. You have the template. You know what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's realistic, and not even going into all the improvements that have been made with the basketball, with the shoes, with rest, with recovery, with strength and conditioning programs. I really think put prime Jordan part Kobe 1-on-1. I think Kobe takes 6 out of 10.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. Man.
Why don't you know
Chris,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Whew. It's hard to follow up after that one. I think the respect or the disrespect from Jordan comes from generation. I think Neil mentioned to me as well. We don't talk about, Bill Russell because that wasn't our generation, or Will Chamberlain. We went around because it's always your point of reference in life, right? I think that's a huge thing. And for the guys coming up now, they've never been exposed to Jordan outside of, Save the Last Dance is really exposed to the kind of elevate that go status and
Save the last man.
sorry,
That's the
last dance. Sorry,
He's been waiting for you to say.
Yeah, I know you got
slip,
it.
dog.
He was
been-
waiting for that.
He's waiting for you. You can't do it, bro.
Great movie, great soundtrack, by the way. The Last Dance, Michael Jordan. But I think that the disrespect comes from that, and kids coming up have only seen LeBron, and I think secondly to that as well, they're only seeing Jordan the GM. And Jordan the GM hasn't been
They got
very
the crime
successful.
Yeah, he's blown it.
So he had, again, one of the worst number 1 draft picks of all time in Washington. He drafted Kwame Brown.
This guy's mentioned that a few times already. Speak on it. Speak on it, Mark.
Kwame Brown. That's enough said. Everyone look up those stats. Bounced around the league, probably averaged 5'2", and that's probably it. Yeah, he was in the league for a short amount of time. So
Mark,
I think in his period in time in Washington, he wasn't a great GM. And now that he owns Charlotte, they're kind of having a resurgence now. So I think he's done a better job. But I think that plays a long part in why he's been disrespected.
I'm not even going to get into the whole GM thing, but the main thing that I've noticed between the best GMs and the worst ones, the best ones just wait for their investment to pan out.
Yeah, he
I
hasn't
think
seen
that
it
the
through.
worst GMs invest in guys and expect that there's going to be a return in a year or 2 years. So
Mhm.
they draft these kids, like the kid is 18, man, the kid's 19. When he's 20, he's not going to be an all-star per se. You know what I'm saying? So I think that now the main difference is like he's just letting these guys play 2, 3, 4 years.
I think too.
Literally.
If you're a GM of a big market, that would help, right? If you're a GM of the Lakers, of course you're gonna get the best talent to come there.
That's true.
So he's in a small market in Charlotte. Who's really gonna go there? Like,
But
you know what I mean?
this is another reason why if you draft a guy, you have to keep him and to see how he's gonna pan out. I mean,
Right.
you keep an eye on him. Is he in the gym? Is he, eating right or whatever? Is he handling his business the right way? But you got to assume, because that's what the whole potential thing is, this whole ceiling thing is,
Mhm.
that he will end up being an all-star. That's what all these draft picks are supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So you trade a draft pick 2 years after you get him, and you keep doing that for 6, 7, 8 years. Of course, you're gonna have the worst record in the league every year.
They're,
All
not
right.
doing, they're not doing too bad this season. right?
No.
Yeah,
Are they in playoffs right now?
their announcers
Yeah.
are going crazy.
Are they in the
Yeah,
play-in
Miles
tournament?
Bridges.
That guy's gonna get a raise.
Yeah.
He is special.
You have to give something to Miles
He's
Bridges.
vintage, man.
With that being said, let's take a quick break.
All right, today's episode is sponsored by Nokturnal. Also, Let's Rap. Today we have with us Rifik the Ghoul. We just wanted to take a few moments just to talk to him about his album, kind of what it's about, what kind of sound, and you know what made you guys kind of go into doing this album, and what's more to come.
So first of all, shouts to my dude Ayon.
Hey, shout out.
He's a brother from another. We've been working together I want to say a little under a year now, and we just been cooking like real heavy. So this most recent project we dropped is actually a playlist. It's called the Dear Summer playlist, and it just gives you that summer vibe. You know, I think the OG on the block to the shorty with her man and everybody and their granny and their kids and everyone's gonna mess with it. You know, it has a bit of everything, but more importantly, it just has a summer vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? You know, we have lyrics in there, we have melodies in there, we have no features because that's just how we get down. Right now, we're just kind of grinding and trying to build up our own name. So Dear Summer is officially our first release together. You know, Ayon, he's out here from the UK, and we're having an opportunity to really mesh our musical styles and what we do. So this is the first project to highlight that. And through this project, our next release, which is coming up, I want to say, you know what? I won't even put a date on it, but the next release is coming up real shortly. It's going to be called Studio 134. And that's our moniker, that's our label, that's our brand. I want to give Nokturnal the exclusivity and put it out there to the world right now. First on this show, Studio 134 is the new umbrella, whatever you want to call it, and that's also the title of the next project we're gonna drop. And that's just the hub, that's just the headquarters. You know, 134 is just that's where we cook. And it is who we are, you know, and it's becoming our staple.
And where can people? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying the next project is 134. So Studio 134, that's gonna be a whole next world. So, but right now you could catch Dear Summer, which is a playlist. It's not an album. It's not an EP. It's a playlist, and you could catch it on Spotify, Apple Music. You could catch it on my page, Rifik the Ghoul, or Ayon, A_0_N. You know, you know, Spotify, there's a lot of red tape and all that, so we had to make sure our spellings of our names were a certain way and all this stuff. But don't get it twisted, it's Rifik the Ghoul, it's Ayon. And yeah, you know, we got a lot more coming. Like the crazy part is, with the whole game, you gotta pace yourself. So we're sitting on a lot, but you know, we got a plan to unfold it. We're probably gonna drop a project each month.
And then the project itself, like you were saying, there's something there for everybody.
Something for everybody, you know. And our styles are so similar, but there's still contrasting components to what we do. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, Ayon's from the UK. You know, those guys got filthy mouths.
Yeah, he's nice.
You know what
I
I'm
like
saying?
him.
He's nice with it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you know, he'll come from a little bit more of a raw angle than me, because, you know, I don't cuss, but I'll definitely keep it 100 with you. And sometimes, you know, my words are sharp too. So there's a contrasting factor, even though we're so similar, and we mesh well. So it's a good listen. And it's not even long, it's short. You could probably play it back 3 times before you realize, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, but again, thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Make
man.
sure,
My
like,
pleasure,
you know,
my pleasure.
everybody go check it out. Check out
Be
Spotify.
hanging.
Yeah, check out Spotify, check out everything, and make sure we go support, you know. I think it's a major part, like right now in Toronto, that we go out and we support other artists and local artists and help develop them and grow them, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So 100%, we want to shout out again. Today's episode sponsored by Nokturnal. Stay tuned. Let's get it.
All right, and we're back. So, this part of the segment, we're going to go over 2 topics. I'm going to give it 10 minutes on each topic again. Quick fire, I'm just going to throw them out there. Then we're going to jump into what we told you guys before the kicks. We're going to find out what everybody's taste is, what they like, and we'll kind of see, you know, who's got the best ones. But no, I'm just playing. But anyway, the first topic I wanted to go over, and I'm going to start the time, whoever wants to start, jump into it, KD and social media. Let's go.
Okay, so I probably have the most different outlook on this. I like it. I like it. Let me tell you why I like it, because this is a guy that he wasn't being clearly he wasn't being himself before. He was just, trying to please everybody, and now he's being himself, man. And to me personally, I don't judge people for being themselves anymore. Not everybody's gonna be the same. Some people are gonna be, quick to react to things being said about them, and some people will dislike if you are saying their name all the time. And basketball players, it's the same thing, kind of going with the Draymond thing too. They don't get the right to retaliate sometimes. They don't get the right to, voice their opinion because of the position that they're in. So some of the stuff that Kevin Durant does is things that other players don't get to do because they're not as much of a superstar, and they don't get to do it because they're afraid of doing it. So I'm not mad at him, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm mad at him. I think it's crazy. I think he's jumping out the window too much. I think he doesn't understand his worth. He doesn't understand who he is. Like, KD, we understand. I think greatest scorer that we've ever seen in terms of what he does, his efficiency with the ball. When I see this guy do things like this, I just don't understand. Like, I don't get why you need to respond to Billy 6'4" in the middle of Idaho talking about your game last night. Like, I just don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because to me, like, at the end of the day, these kids have no influence on anything you're doing. You don't even know. You just want to respond. But, I was looking at it from what Shannon and Skip were talking about, and he was saying maybe he's using this for fuel. And it could be true. The Michael Rappaport thing, you're going to tell Michael Rappaport you're going to slap him. Like, I don't even understand why you're doing all that stuff. Like, Michael Rappaport's talking crap. We understand. We understand. But at the end of the day, like, you both are millionaires. You're not going to slap him. Like, we know what it is. Like, so, and you've already put it down for everybody to see that you're going to do it. So you're not actually going to do these. Like, I don't know. I think it's crazy, in my opinion.
I think he might actually slap him. I don't have an issue with it. I think he can go around. I think his content of the messages could be different, right? If you have an issue with somebody, I think he can voice it differently, in the same forum, in the same text, but with different words. That's it. I really think that a player should speak their mind, and I think if they have an issue with how they're being portrayed in the media, if they have an issue with the media, with the way they're being asked questions, Westbrook, the way he answered and says next question, doesn't answer to that one reporter, I see no issue with it. I just think that you should be in his position as somebody that millions of kids idolize. I think he should be more careful about the words that he uses. That's it.
Yeah, I think when we talk about KD, I think for the everyday basketball fan, he's considered a snake, right? He was
cupcake, they say.
He one of the best players in the world at the time was OKC. They lost that series. They should have won that. They're the better team. And what does he do? Skips to Golden State. So I'm not and all of the social media stuff kind of popped off, if I don't remember correctly. It all came off around there. And I think that maybe he was trying to fuel himself, giving himself, or he wanted to be portrayed in a certain way. I'm not sure, but I think, to your point, I think if you are an idol or you have millions of people looking up to you, you have a responsibility. You are a role model, so the things you certainly should be doing differently. Having a burner account on Twitter is irresponsible, 100%. You've got 20 boys on your payroll at least, or whatever you need to do. Like, get them to handle that. You shouldn't be sliding into anyone's DMs and have any chance of any kind of reaction. And the media knows that it's a clickbait world, so stop it. He has a responsibility. Do better, but it could be fuel to the fire. I don't think we really understand Kevin Durant, the person, except for the close people.
He doesn't have kids, does he?
No.
I think that's another reason why he's still doing these things. He's not married, doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything else to really, like, make him not jump out the window. You look at, like, LeBron, he has a family, children. He's not going to do stuff like this, you know? This guy's sitting at home playing video games. He has nothing else to do. So maybe that's why. And again, Shannon and Skip made a point. Maybe he's using this to get him upset, so when he gets ready to play, it gives him something. You know, we don't know.
That's great advice to everybody at home who's struggling with social media and being too addictive. Just have some kids.
Put the phone down and have a kid.
Question about 2 years.
Yeah.
So, I think with KD on the ball court, we have no issues with him. Probably the most efficient scorer we've ever seen. All of that, right? But I think the problem is, okay, the actions that he's doing, the things that he's doing, it's like shaping his character, and for us, in terms of his fans, his audience, or people that care to look beyond basketball. Which these days, that's kind of what we tend to do. We understand the game so much, we're entertained by it, but now it's like, okay, we're looking beyond basketball. Storylines, we talk about it, we watch Shannon and Skip every day. There's a lot of storylines that are not about the sport that the athlete plays, but now it's about them. And, these things become more interesting. So with that being the context, now the things he's doing is like you're questioning his character. You just got slapped up by the squad. You're going to go run to the squad the next year. Okay, that's weird. Burner account, all of that, that's weird. Like, it's weird stuff. The idea you're going to invest so much energy into Twitter fingering or texting a dude who's also a celebrity, but like you really, I don't think it was just gimmicky and fuel him up. I think he was into it. I think he was emotionally invested. I think there was energy that went into it. He might have even, to your point, gone and slapped the guy if he had a chance. But to his detriment and to what he's showing people, there's no foresight to it. He's just responding and reacting. So I just think, unfortunately, what he's doing is shaping his off-the-court character. And I think when you're such a high-level, high-profile guy, there's an etiquette that comes with it, and you could choose to follow it or not. But then when you don't follow it, all this other stuff comes with it, which is what we're talking about now. All of a sudden he's on Twitter. He's not.
I think he's
following.
got too much time on his hands.
I'm not mad at him about it.
I'm not
like
mad.
I said, not
you
everybody.
don't have to be, it's just
not
like
everybody is going to react the same way to everything.
But
He's not LeBron. LeBron is a bigger and more famous person than he is, and at the end of the day, LeBron wants to respond to a lot of the stuff that is said about him too.
And why doesn't he?
He doesn't.
Why doesn't he? Though?
He doesn't.
But why not?
He does. I mean,
There's
everybody,
definitely
everybody
like,
handles things differently.
For sure, but we're
Everybody
talking
handles
about
things differently.
they're kind of in the same boat to some degree.
No,
like,
they are.
So it's like it's hard to like
It's
set
like
a
one
standard.
A, one B for sure.
Yeah, so the standard kind of has to be the same. We know he doesn't have kids and he's not married and stuff, but like you're a star, you represent the league. It's just not okay, and unfortunately, LeBron knows that and acts accordingly. KD might just not realize that.
But
Like,
I don't. Of course, he realizes it, but at the end of the day, it's like,
he had to
how
apologize.
much
That's
are
why.
you going? Like, you got to be completely honest here. This is a guy that made a business decision, whichever way we want to look at it, right? You can say, oh, he's a snake for leaving his team, or he was a free agent. It's not like he asked for a trade or, you know what I'm saying, or stop playing and force his way out. He was a free agent. He had a choice to go to any team. He picked a team.
But,
he did exactly what he is allowed to do.
Yeah.
Then he's being called all kinds of names that he knows for a fact he's not. He's
No,
not
but
a
you-
snake because he picked a team.
On the flip side, what if it wasn't a business decision? What if it was a personal one? What if it was based on his?
Either way, even if it's for rings or for winning.
That changes it a little bit. Because if we're going to talk about the decision now, forget the outcome, forget basketball. If it's about the decision and what led him to that decision, was it business or was it personal? That if it was business, that changes everything. But now if he's coming from a personal place, that changes everything too. Because now it's like he is a freaking whatever you want to call him. Sure he won championships, but now it's like
if I'm a free agent and I pick to go to a team, you don't have right to call me a cupcake, and you're not in my shoes.
But you're soft.
no, but we
You're soft.
can. No, we
This is
can.
my
But now
point.
it's about you. How you want to respond
So
to it.
I'm
We
not
can
allowed
call
to-
you whatever
so
we
I'm not
want.
allowed to say anything.
You're leading us to call you these
That's my
things.
No, but
point.
the thing is,
It's a casual fan.
the thing is, you gotta call it what it is. You hoopers, like actual hoopers, you're soft. You are. And the other day, when he was in Philly, and the whole stadium
that was
doing
weird
it,
too.
he
That
got
was-
offended. He's
when
a soft
when he
guy.
went like this-
and like to your point, you're right. It's okay if that's how he's gonna be.
He's an emotional guy.
But just understand, when people continually come at you, you've now let them know you're soft.
Yeah.
So now everybody's gonna
You
continue
open that
to come at
Pandora's
you.
box, bro.
Right.
With your actions, with your Twitter account, with your decision.
And they know they can get a response out of you, which is the crazy thing.
It's tough.
That's
Yeah,
what they're
it's
looking
tough
for.
now. It's tough to defend his off the court actions and say it aligns with how sick he is as a ball player and like it all makes sense. It's tough to say that what he does makes sense.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not mad at him, man. Not everybody's gonna behave the same. I don't expect all these
Okay, is he the
superstar.
only one that has ever done it or does it or did it?
I mean, Charles Barkley responded to every single. Are you talking about in history?
I just
You mean
think
recent memory?
in history, I just think KD's the only person to ever do what he did, and
Oh, it's a
that
good
literally
thing-
speaks on
No,
just
no,
him.
no. It's a good thing guys like Charles Barkley didn't have a
Social
Twitter
media.
account or
Yeah,
social media.
and I
back
agree
in
with that, but that just wasn't the case, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But now KD's literally the only
Yeah.
person that it's happened to. So now the
Yeah.
microscope is on him if we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that.
Stephen
That can't
A.
be true,
Stephen
though.
said the only
He
player.
can't be the only player.
Burner account?
No,
Well,
Stephen A. said the only
Burner
player.
accounts maybe.
Stephen said
that's what we're.
But responding
Stephen A. said the only player he was afraid of was Kobe. Because at any time he said anything about Kobe, if he was in LA or they were, crossing each other's paths, Kobe's gonna take him in the corner and be like, "Why are you saying those?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but
But I don't think KD
You
would
gotta-
do that.
you
That's the
gotta be-
difference.
you
KD
gotta
would
be
Twitter
honest.
finger his ass
you know
off.
what? You know what? As these videos start going up, and we're gonna see what people are saying about us, and we're gonna see how you respond.
I just
too.
no,
We're
I
gonna see how you respond
can't
too,
wait.
bro.
I
That's a
can't.
good point.
Yo,
It's
but that's a
fact,
great
man.
point because
It's a
guess what?
fact,
I was
man.
questioning Shannon for a while, and you know this in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
When KD got at him after for some reason KD just chose to go at Shannon, and a couple shows prior to that, Shannon said, "Yo, this is what I would do if in the event of and it happened. And then Shannon did what he said he would do. Now, did he do it just because he said he would do it, or did he do it because he really wanted to? I don't know. But he blocked KD. He proceeded to block KD. The
Yeah.
next few shows, there was no KD talks, and that kind of bothered me. I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, talk about it. Like, you blocked him
I
already."
thought they were talking about next
I was
episode.
praying for it to
Yeah.
happen. It never happened for about 2 or 3 episodes. Then slowly they segued into the Durant topics, whatever. But my point is, I don't think, and the whack part is, I'm led to believe this through his actions. I don't think if he had an opportunity to do it face to face, that he would. That's how I feel
As
based
Kevin
on.
Durant?
Yeah, that's how I feel based on how he's acted.
I disagree. He's on every podcast right now. Anybody that calls into a podcast, he goes.
Yeah, but like-
and he doubles down on anything that he says.
No, what do you mean? The whole,
They don't really
the
ask
whole
him
Westbrook
those
thing, the whole Westbrook thing, that
They-
was a whack Durant moment.
They
That
don't
did
ask,
not look
they
good
don't-
on him.
They don't ask him certain questions.
He doubled back on what he said. Yo,
When they asked him who your
top five
players,
teammates.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, I was tripping." Bro, you better just keep that energy, stick with your list, and
I think
defend
he's
it.
just trolling, to be honest.
Yeah.
with that.
Sure,
was
but
smiling.
even then, what
He
good
was-
is that?
he was
What does
smiling.
that speak on though? To be
He's like,
trolling,
Serge
what does that
Ibaka.
do for him? What does that
Yeah.
do for the Nets? What does that do for anybody to troll in that moment, being asked that
I think he
question?
likes it. But anyway,
That's what I said.
point.
That's
I
what I
think
said.
That's my
I
point,
think
but
he
he
likes
has
it.
right to though.
He
That's why
can, and that's my yo. I agree
He
with that
knows
point.
he's
He
gonna
has a
grab a
right
headline. He
to.
knows
He
he's
could
gonna
do
grab a
it, but
headline.
that's also why I'm
So
talking
I'm
my
not
shit.
gonna lie. You said that you have to be a role model. You don't have to be a role
Yeah,
model.
I know.
That's,
But-
that's my opinion though.
Yeah, you
But-
that's
can
my
be-
but-
opinion.
You choose to, or you choose not to.
But I strongly believe, I do strongly believe he's
think
the
he-
soft person. I think he
I do
can't
too.
handle it.
I
And
do
I
too.
think he responds, like you said, for whatever reason, for his own personal response to feel good after. But I think realistically, there's headlines that said when he made that move to Golden State, where he said to his agent, "You just made me fuck up my whole life." He said that, and I think from that moment, because so many people, as Darnell was saying, have been going crazy talking about him 24/7. He's not used to it, and now he's like, "I'm gonna lash back." I'm not gonna deal with it. But what he's failing to realize, every time you respond, these kids at home go, "All right, I know I could get a rise out of this guy, and I could keep talking to him." You know what I mean? And then he responds. It's crazy.
You know
but
what it is? He
He
doesn't-
can do what he wants. You're right.
He doesn't, and to your point,
doesn't
he can
have
do what
to
he
worry
wants,
about it.
but I don't think he values his platform like other superstars do.
But
To value your
everybody
platform and your
handles
brand.
it differently is what I'm saying. LeBron
Right.
doesn't have social media. I think LeBron only follows like, I don't know. Basically,
He might
LeBron's not even listening. What he does is he just tunes it out. He pretends like it's not there.
For sure.
And I can't tell you what's a better solution, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So do you,
LeBron also has probably a whole PR for.
I was just about to say, don't you think it would be okay? No,
I
do you
disagree.
think?
I disagree.
Do you think it would be?
Some of he's posting his own accolades.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Yeah.
I don't
I-
think his
no
PR
matter
team
what he has-
posts his
yo,
accolades.
Only
Kid
gets
from
seen by another
Akron.
person, but what he says.
Okay. Do you think
that
Durant?
goes
Do
through,
you
like,
think?
6 filters of people
Exactly.
before
So do you
anything
think
comes
Durant has that? The
No.
idea that
No.
he could post something and someone would call him
No.
right away. 2 seconds, yo, take that shit down. What's wrong with you?
I think LeBron
Do you think
has
he
that.
has-
I think LeBron.
LeBron-
has that.
but
I
I'm
think
asking,
LeBron
do you think
posts what he
KD has
wants,
that?
And then the PR team
Okay.
does something
I think
after.
Do you
four
think
people have
KD
LeBron's
has that?
password
No.
For everything. and
KD
they're
doesn't
like,
have
"Nah,
that."
This isn't going on.
By choice, KD doesn't have that.
Today's Tuesday. We can post the Taco Tuesday
Yeah,
content.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
I don't know, man. LeBron posts his own accolade. You think his team tells him to post your own accolade?
I think he's high on himself.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he just does it.
I think we can.
and they just
I
like.
think it's-
Nah, he
No,
needs
it's
the
all-
okay
I
for
think-
everything. He's a brand. He's affiliated with
He's
too
a-
much. He
I
needs
doubt
the
that.
okay
I doubt that.
before.
I think.
Nowadays,
Instagram
personal
might be
social-
different.
nowadays
Instagram
personal
might be
social media,
different.
I don't think
I
so.
wish they would ask Kevin Durant.
You think when he posted accountability on the trial verdict, he didn't have to run that through by people?
No, I
he
said
had
I
to-
think people call him after he saw the tweet he took down the other day.
Oh yeah, about your
He's like,
I
"You're next."
Yeah, you're next or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, I think ultimately though, like we could go on with KD
Yeah,
forever.
it's been
And we were way over time with that one. But
Give him
listen,
too much energy,
listen,
man.
what we want to
Yeah.
do is, to Nell's point, if you have some comments, put them in. Let's hear what you got to say. Like to
can't
any
wait.
one of us.
Yeah, I
We're ready for the smoke. Like that's all we want, the engagement. Let's go. You know what I mean? But with that being said, let's wrap it up with going over the kicks. I think everybody has their own style. So everybody pull out your sneaker of choice. You know what I mean?
This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Get this nice and
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm wearing mine.
shout out,
I'm
shout
coming
out.
with the
This is
wild
Brandon
card
right
today.
here.
As the non-LeBron
We're gonna
fan,
lock
I'm coming
this
with the
out.
wild card today.
You got the LeBrons here?
I'm coming with the wild card today.
All right, all right. So we'll start off with Luke.
Yeah,
What do you have in the
Yeah, the
Fresco
fresh
bag?
card. Shout out to Freshco.
I knew how this topic was gonna go.
Should've got the Nocturnal.
So
Yeah.
I went a little bit different. So I got a little story to share
Fill
about.
us.
I'll take them out first, and then I'll share the whole story. So
Nice,
it's
nice.
not what you're gonna be expecting.
Ooh.
Okay, all right.
It's not what you're gonna be expecting.
Okay.
To be honest, those
so-
are probably expensive now.
Yeah.
So they are Adidas shoes. I got these in 2016. At the time, I just came back from living overseas for 10 years. I came to Canada with about $300 in my pocket, and maybe 2 weeks after, I was struggling to look for jobs. I didn't have a job for the first 2 months. So at one point, my friends were like, "Let's go play ball," and I have like All-Star Converse All-Stars. I can't play ball in these, so. Shout out to whoever posted these on Kijiji for $20. I ended up buying these.
Sentimental.
Yeah, I was
ended
gonna
up
say.
buying these for $20, and whenever I look at them, I remembered that time.
That's awesome.
I've been blessed with some other things
Yeah,
in my
that
life
is awesome.
over the last 5 years. But I look at these, and some people have cars that they keep. This is my reminder of where I came from with almost nothing, and I appreciate these shoes. And also, I dropped 36 and 8.
Even the statistics behind that. too.
Okay, KD.
Stats.
No,
Okay,
I like that
okay,
too,
KD.
because now my collection could expand. So I can do the sentimental value.
Yeah,
Well, for
yeah.
the viewers, I'll take these off the table now.
That's cool. That's good. Man. I like that.
All right, I'm
36 and eight.
gonna put mine in the box. I go with the goat with Jordan. These are like my favorite pair. Jordan 10s. I got 3 of them now. Oh no, these are 10.
9, baby.
Oh, 9?
Yeah,
No,
$10.
Yeah, you
$10.
got
Oh
it.
shoot.
This guy said it's
I'm
said
confused.
10.
I'm confusing.
Don't
I'm
watch
confused.
it.
Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah, we could edit that. Jordan 9, my fault. These ones are all black. So the story behind these is I flew to Miami, and when I was in Miami, I actually had to wait in line for an hour and a half to get these, and it was crazy. Like the amount of people that line up for these guys. That's how you know this guy's the GOAT. People are lined up for hours in snow, sleet, whatever you want to get these. But these ones right here, the all black. I have another pair that is gold and burgundy. So when I was in high school, I played in these, and they've always been my favorite pair. So for me, you'll always see me trying to get a new pair, and sometimes I don't even wear them. I just keep them in a box.
You gonna lick the bottom? These are
That's
fresh.
it.
You gonna lick the
No,
bottom?
not on camera. Not on camera.
Yes.
Parental advisory. We don't do that.
Alright, my box is beat up. These are old. So these are the only LeBrons I own. And I'm not a LeBron guy. I'm not a LeBron fan. That has nothing to do with what I think about his impact on the game. But these are the only LeBrons I own. And, I figure we're going to do this more often. I
Yeah.
figured this is the first of many. So I just figured I would get these out the way now. Get LeBron out the way now because there's some fire to come.
Yeah.
But these are still special to me because while they're the only LeBrons I have, it's also the only shoe in my collection I can honestly say I've never seen someone else wearing them. Even when I think I have the most exclusive shoe, I've seen someone else wearing them. I've never seen someone else wearing these LeBrons. And these are the LeBron 9s, but I don't know if this colorway ever came out, but these are called the Black Cat 9s, right?
I've never seen those.
Right.
Never,
The
yeah.
LeBron 9s to me are one of the best 9s I've seen, and he's up to probably 20 now or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the LeBron 9, my favorite is the Miami Beach. The Miami Beach colorway for LeBron was definitely a.
Why do you like those?
Why do I like them? I just love the silhouette. Deep down, and I haven't said this. Maybe I'll put it in the universe now on Ball Above All. My end goal is to be a sneaker designer. Okay, remember I said it here first. And
Speaking into existence.
right, and I love the silhouette of this shoe. I love the way it's built. When you put it on your foot, you feel the quality, and you feel how, you know, all of that technical stuff. I don't even want to go there, but LeBron's not my favorite player. This isn't my favorite shoe, but there's a few reasons why I brought it today. One, to just get it out of the way. So you'll never hear me talk about
Get it out of the way.
LeBron. One, you'll never hear me talk
Get
about
it out of the
LeBron
way.
like this, in this light again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
other than giving him the accolades he deserves. But this shoe here, dope shoe. The LeBron 9 Black Cat.
Can I give you
Send the plug, send the plug,
before
send
you
the
go.
check.
Yeah, you go.
Jordan, send the check.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
before you go, so the other day with this whole Kobe shoe thing, did you know that LeBron has the most expensive basketball shoes in history? And it started with the 9. So you should definitely keep those.
Yeah,
Fact check that.
Check
Fact
that.
check that.
Definitely
Yo,
keep
and
those.
it's just for the ching
Yeah,
sign.
exactly.
Like that sound, like,
You should
like, you
definitely
know?
keep those. The first one was like the penny hardware was like the first $100 shoe, and then there was a couple pairs of shoes in between there, and then from the LeBron 9, those were like, I think like 210, I think, when they came out, or
Wow.
209, 99, something like that, and then from there it's just been more and more and more. So
Yo.
definitely.
Send
Yeah,
a check.
call me.
Terrific.
Send
You
a
should
check.
do like,
Those.
and click here to.
So I do also want to add, I almost killed myself trying to dig this box out of the back of my closet because, you know, once again, it's just LeBron. So I just, I took the shoe out of the box and dashed the box. But I wanted to bring the box today to show the old, it has some age on it. So
Yeah,
Worth
that
some
is
money.
nice.
Clearly, you
Let's
put
go-
more
let's
effort
go,
into
Chris.
the box
Let's
tonight.
move.
I-
What's cups,
you
man?
got-
Get that shoe up there, man.
I didn't. I spent a lot of time on thinking about different shoes that I would bring today. I've got a lot of pairs, and I didn't want to peak too early. To Rap's point, there's so many more pairs I'm going to be bringing, and I'm very excited. I had the 6s out, had the 4s, the 5s, had the Yeezys out as well, but we'll come back to those later. But for me, I just wore them.
Get them up there, man.
Yeah,
Let's
just-
see them, man.
just-
Get them up there.
just-
and they still look good.
Yeah,
Street,
they're still
crispy.
street worn,
Oh,
still
crispy.
worn. Still
Just-
have the white to it.
Just the classic ones, just very classic. I bought these actually in Portland about 3 or 4 years ago. I was down there for a trip, and just clean, different color, doesn't matter what color it in. I just think it's a pure classic. 30, 40 years from now, it'll never get old. So
Why did you go with the cocaine? Why did you go with the cocaine white?
I just-
Parental advisory. Parental advisory.
Cocaine.
I just thought it's a little bit different to the classic, the reds. So when I saw them, there was the red or the white. I'm like, look, every man has the red pair. So look, I'll be a little bit
red
different.
or bread?
Red.
Okay,
The red.
'cause you know you're tripping. If you
Yeah.
bread.
No. They were the red ones. So I went with the white one just to mix it up, and it's just a classic. That's really it. So more to come though. More to come.
Absolutely.
100% agree. So these are French Blue Jordan 12s, and growing up, it was weird. I don't know, for whatever reason, watching all the Michael Jordan games and stuff back in the day. He wore a whole bunch of shoes. I just like the 12s the most. I think when you're wearing them with a basketball jersey, they kind of stand out the most. I don't know. I feel like that's why I like them the most of the time until I started playing in them. When I started playing them, I stopped buying them because then, man, they're way too heavy. Not a lot of grip. Mike was scoring 40, 50. I don't know. I don't know how.
Go.
I don't know how. But basically, the backstory on this particular colorway. So, for anyone that doesn't know, this is my brother here. So my brother had a pair, right? So we were only watching Michael Jordan on the TV. My brother got a pair of the 12s. He had them in the box. I would literally just take them out the box and just look at them. Take them out the box and just look at them. And he never wore them. I don't know if he remembers this. He wore them once, or maybe it was within 5 wears.
Yeah.
It was within 5 wears. And we went to the gym and we got robbed, man. We got robbed. So after we got robbed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get another pair. So I made sure. So for these, the mall opened at like 9 a.m. In the mall, there was only like a Champs and a Foot Locker. So they don't let you in the actual mall. So I had to camp outside the mall from like 3 a.m. And this is like the end of winter. So this is like February, I think, or end of January. So it's cold as hell too. I'm wearing like 4 jackets, 4 pairs of pants. Outside for about 6 hours. Then when you actually get in the mall, what people try to do is, because they're in the back of the line, they just push to the front of the line and they race you to the Foot Locker. So like if you're unathletic and you're first in line, when the mall doors open, if someone can trample you and get to Foot Locker before you,
So I man's dying.
That was what I was gonna say.
So when you hear all those stories in the States, I was in America at the time. If you hear all those stories in the States about people getting trampled, it's usually, and I figured that out the hard way. So I'm throwing bows behind me, and I'm running to Foot Locker. And then I stood outside Foot Locker probably for like another, 20, 30 minutes. and then I finally got my pair. So I think I wore these like twice. They're probably not gonna get a lot of wears, but that's kind of the backstory behind.
Cool
behind
story.
these ones
If
right
you don't
here.
mind, I'm gonna ask you something. I'm sure some viewers are interested. I'm interested to hear what happened when you guys ran into trouble and you lost the first pair.
Oh,
If you don't mind sharing that story.
So what happened was we were playing at where were we? Seneca.
I think.
Yeah, I had just come back for the summer to play, and I was in the States too, and I just come back, and I had them, I bought them in the States, and then I brought them to the gym, and I always tied the laces together, because I'd have it around my shoulder or my back, and we went for runs, and we were playing, and my boy drove, and I just remember when we were leaving, I walked outside, and not realizing I left them on the bleacher top, right on the top. And to this day, I still don't understand. Why would you steal my sneakers?
30
Like,
seconds.
I just finished playing in them, you know what I mean?
30 seconds
Yeah.
maybe, literally.
Yeah, at 30 seconds, I ran outside. I'm like, yo, I ran back inside, gone.
Damn.
Immediately. I asked everybody in the gym, nobody knows. Yo, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. You know?
How old were you at the time?
I don't know. I was young. Maybe.
I was like early 20s.
Yeah. So I was probably like 14, 13, something like that.
Yeah, at that point, shoes are like your whole.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
man!
right.
And for me, I was devastated because, like I said, if he's not home, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go look at them. I'm gonna look at them, put them on my foot. You
For
know?
viewers that don't realize, that is an entirely normal thing for a young man that loves his sneakers to
Yeah.
just go look at them.
Yeah,
He's not
So
crazy.
open the box and just look at them.
It's the
So
reason
These
I
are
have what I have
crazy.
today, because I spent so much time just looking.
So
That's
with
what I did today in preparation.
Yeah, exactly. With that being said, you know, we want to thank you for tuning in today to another Ball Up a Ball episode. I don't even know what episode we're on right now.
Sounds
3,
like-
4. Anyway, you know, a lot more to come. You can look for us on social media if you guys want to plug in any of your social medias at all. I don't know if you want to. It's up to you.
Ball above all, baby.
That's it. That's
Please
it. So what we
subscribe.
want you to do, hit subscribe, hit the subscribe, engage, write what you want to write, give us your
Yeah.
feedback,
Let
tell
us
us
know
what
what
you
you
think. And
We want that
you know,
soul.
even drop some topics. If you guys have things you want to hear,
Yeah.
definitely we'll tackle it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, tune in next episode.
Send a check.
Let's go.
Send the check.
Yo, wall to wall ball, ball above all. When the altar call calls, it's Riffic now, March chef, unsullied by a single sponsorship. Not yet outside the box. The next Ernie Shack, Charles Jet. Every stack cross check, every last prospect. Tear open the Spalding and reach for next topics. We the underdog, but we bopping like the tropics. Here we settle calls and welcome controversy. It's ball above all.